Ground ball. McLean, second. 12 in a row. The oldest team in professional baseball has its 5th ever winning streak of a dozen straight.
Our job every day is to try to kick somebody's ass. I mean, that's why we're here.
That is caught. Left center. Reds win.
And this ball is launched high and very deep to right, long gone. It's second of the night. Ellie De La Cruz.
Short lead for Pena. Logan drills it. Do you believe this? That's going to be gone. Back to back. Walk-off home runs. How about this? Aaron is back. He's back. He's back.
And a swing and a drive. Deep left field. This one belongs to the Reds.
Swung on and hit
Deep to left field. That ball is going to be gone. Home run. And the Reds put it tied to score.
Goes to second one. Around to first. Got a double play. And the Reds sweep the Cubs. Breaking ball. Hit high. Hit deep. Way back there. And gone into the second deck and left. Christian Encarnacion Strand walks it off.
Archer does it in his major league debut. He gets the final 3 outs, and the Reds get an extra inning win. A thriller 5-4.
Swung on. Fly ball. Hit the deep right field. That ball is going to be gone. A grand slam home run by Mike Cameron.
2 outs, 2 on. Reds down by 1. Larkin down the line. This will win it. This will win it. Here comes Tucker. Here comes Steins. Larkin's won the game. Barry Larkin gets mobbed. Look at this scene. It's synergy.
The stretch, the pause and the pitch. And a line drive, base hit left center field. A single for Aaron Boone. And this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won 8 in a row.
Kobayashi with a long look turns it loose, and Ginn hits it to deep right. It's all over. And this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won their 5th game in a row. They've defeated the Cleveland Indians on an Adam Dunn 3-run home run, 4-2. In on the corners at first and third. 2 on, nobody out. Here's Royce Ring pitching, no bunt. Ground ball by the third baseman into left field. Dave Bruce rounds third. This one belongs to the Reds.
That's hit pretty good. Guess what? He doesn't need speed. That's gone. He's the king of the Queen City tonight.
With 1 out here in the 11th inning, you sure got to go now.
Swung on, pull down the left field line. That ball is going to get the winning run in. Here comes Dave Bruce rounding third, heading toward the plate. And this one belongs to the Reds.
Huge situation for Votto. Why you paying the big bucks to deliver the goods with 2 outs in the 9th inning? Can he do it? In the gap, right center field, and Votto delivers the goods.
Hit deep center field. Hank Hill going back at the warning track. Oh, he gets one. It's gone. Joey Votto is delivered.
Welcome in, Reds fans. We still got baseball to play. The Reds are not dead yet. The Mets are losing, and we're ready for some late night West Coast baseball. Welcome into the Chatterbox Reds pregame show. Today is September 12th, 2025, as the Reds take on your, not Oakland, almost said it, Sacramento, I guess, A's, soon to be Las Vegas A's. I think they're just the Athletics is what they are. And this is your pregame show. I'm Mike Hart, and joining me is somebody who I was almost late to the stream because he was too busy doing cartwheels for the Daytona Tortugas dominating bullpen performance tonight down in Florida. Ricky Logan, how are you doing today, Ricky?
I'm doing great. Late night Friday. That's new for us. We haven't had many of those. We go from Friday night candy to late night Fridays. So, yeah, it's gonna be a good series. And Daytona Tortugas, man, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and while we're at it, let's just start with that. Some great news. Like I mentioned, the Tortugas defeated the St. Lucie Mets tonight, 2-0. And they're on to the Florida State League Championship against the Lakeland Flying Tigers. I believe their game 1 of that 3-game series will be on Sunday. So keep an eye out for that. It's it's great to see some success from our minor league teams. Obviously, they lost game 1 and came back and won game 2 and game 3 on the road. And I saw something where I think the St. Lucie Mets had been 20-10 against the Tortugas this year. So, significantly better in the regular season. But when it counted, the Tortugas came and pulled off a great win. What are your thoughts on all the success we're seeing from the minors? Alfredo Duno leading this team to the championship series.
Yeah, I guess before I get to Daytona, just overall in general, there's been some good vibes going down in the Reds farm system. Louisville just had their 11-game winning streak snapped. Dayton finished their season going 18 out of their 19 games with a win. So they went 18-1 over their last 19 games with a 15-game winning streak. And Daytona, they got a lot of talent on that team. Everybody knows Tyson Lewis, especially if you listen to Chatterbox. He's got a lot of bat speed. He's a good 5-tool player. Alfredo Duno, he's our catcher of the future the next few years. And then some guys you might not really know about, like Keen Vu. He was a draft pick this year out of Arizona State. Mason Devell out of Oregon. He was the NCAA leader in home runs this past season. And guys like Alfredo Alcantara, who hit a home run today, that put the game out of reach. And like Ichiro Kano, what a baseball name that guy has.
I know.
You better be good if you have a name like that. I mean, they kind of lesser known guys like Kyle Henley. He has like 57 stolen bases this year. And Bernard Moon, he's kind of like an underrated kind of guy. He's got a lot of RBIs. So a lot of talent in Daytona, and that's probably our next wave of talent once we get past like Cam Collier, South Stewart, who just got called up, Austin Hendrick, just kidding. But there's a lot of talent down there in Daytona, and we'll probably see a couple of them in Chattanooga at some point next year. Yeah.
And obviously Nick will be going in depth about this further in the post-game show if you're interested in that. Tortugas, man. It's great to see things in the Reds organization going on for a win. But let's talk about today's game. Obviously, actually, before we get going, we have a super chat. We don't get a lot of these for the pregame show, and so we are going to read this one right off the rip because Troy Taylor has graced us with the $5 super chat. He says, A's are bums. Sweep and claim a spot in the playoffs. Take the money line straight to the bank. Troy, I love the confidence. We'll get to what we think the score is going to be later on in the broadcast, but I love that, man. A's are, definitely on the lower half of teams, and we're going to hope that, we've seen, us win a series against the Mets, win a series against the Padres, but then struggle with teams like the Nationals or the Marlins or the Pirates. So, let's end that tonight. We're neck and neck here, game and a half back, and I think the Mets are still losing. So it's one of those where it's like, if we can win tonight, we're a half game back. We are back all the way back to, very, very close to trying and competing for that playoff spot. So love to see that. I'm excited about that for sure.
Yeah, the Mets are currently down 8-3 in the 7th. So
love to hear it. Love to hear it. Don't want to claim anything until it's over, but it's great to hear. So let's talk about this lineup that we have running out here today. A couple notable things about this. Ricky, do you want to run us through what Tito's going to be sending out in Sacramento today?
Yeah, so we got a Will Benson sighting. That's awesome to see. TJ Friedel leading off. Gavin Lux batting in the 2-hole DH. Elliott shortstop in the 3-hole. I'm not feeling confident about our first 3 batters, especially with their last 7 game splits. Friedel's batting 185 over his last 7, but he is walking. He does have a 313 on base. He's just not getting hits. Gavin Lux has an 095 average over his last 7, a 150 over his last 15 with a 292 on base percentage. So it's not ideal for your 1-2 hitters at the moment. And then Ellie, batting 197 with 21 strikeouts and just 2 walks over his last 15 games. Not ideal, but I think this is a series where he gets hot and he can kind of carry us in towards the end of the season. Austin Hayes, cleanup. Tyler Stevenson, catching tonight. Will Benson, like I said earlier, right field. Spencer Steer at first base. Platinum glove winner, Key Brian Hayes at third base. And Matt McLean heating up over his last 15 games, batting over 300. It's good to see, man. It's good to see some guys who have struggled most of the year kind of get going, and then hopefully some guys who have struggled here lately can get going towards the end of the season.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's good to see Matt McLean continuing to bounce back a little bit, still struggling. Still those overall numbers still don't look very good because of how poor they was at the beginning of the year. Also good to see Will Benson, not having, a month in between starts. I love to see that.
Yeah.
Obviously Marte has been struggling of late. And so, giving Will Benson a blow there or giving Marte a blow there for Will Benson seems like, especially with the added power aspect that we have here in this very hitter-friendly ballpark that we're about to play in. And I think Nick mentioned it, Elly De La Cruz obviously not having the second half that we'd like, but past couple games has really been starting to hit the ball hard. And so, I think I'm with you, man. If we can start coming out of that shell for this playoff push, it'd be great for Elly De La Cruz to, while he has struggled and it's been unfortunate, see him get hot and try to, lead this team to the postseason. Which would be awesome to see. The other person missing, Sal Stewart, right? And I seen some discourse in the chat, right? Maybe he's you go back and forth. Obviously, he's not lit the world on fire. He's hit 2 bombs of home runs, and he has significant more power output for, say, like Gavin Lux. So I think I'd probably like to see him in the DH instead of Gavin Lux. You mentioned, in September, a 23 WRC plus, a 143 average, and more crucially, he's been batting kind of in the middle of this lineup, only 1 RBI. So it's just like this guy's not getting it done there. And I get that we're trying to stick with that, but maybe I don't need Sal batting second DHing, but you'd like to be able to have that power output in there. Obviously, he's not complete, like he's not on fire, but he's sure producing a little bit better than what Gavin Lux has done, and his upside is significantly higher because of the power that Sal has shown. That I think Gavin Lux has 2 home runs all year, maybe 3. Sal has 2 home runs in 2 weeks, so it's that feels like that's something that we would like to be, we'd like to be trying to take advantage of, especially in this ballpark. But, this is the lineup that we have here. I saw some people talking about Andujar. It seems pretty clear that Andujar is only going to play against lefties. He's only going to DH because of that quad. It's something that's not really bothering him hitting as much, as we've seen him still been able to hit the ball, especially against lefties. But they're really not playing him out there. I mean, maybe you have him DH, but his numbers against righties are not as good as against lefties. So, I understand why that's the case. I'm sure we will see him. He's clearly been the first one off the bench, either for Gavin Lux or maybe even Will Benson if a lefty reliever comes in. So I'm sure we will get to see some Andujar. I wish he was healthy enough for us to see him more often in the lineup, but I think that's unfortunately just not where we are in this part of the season. So let's move on to the starting pitcher, Brady Singer, who has been just nails recently, right? Last 5 starts, 4-0 with a 1.8 ERA, 30 innings pitched, only 8 walks and 30 strikeouts. That's called getting it done right there. He's got his ERA back under 4, which, from what we've seen with some of his blowups at the beginning of the year, that's pretty cool. 13-9 with a 3.98 ERA. What have been your thoughts about Brady Singer and what he's been able to bring to this team, especially in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, we very clearly won that trade. I'll say it over and over again every time he pitches, but when he's locating his pitches, he's a very, very good number 5 pitcher in a rotation. And I just think that he's had his games where he does, kind of melt down a little bit, but when he's on, he's had a few 7 strikeout games this year. So he's a very, very good pitcher. And he seems like a little guy also, and it's just I'm really satisfied with everything he's done. He's when he locates his sinker and he gets the ground ball, he's lights out.
Yeah, and obviously this starting pitching has carried us to this point. While it seems like we've had a lot of injuries, it's crazy how if you look across the league, the pitching depth is just as poor, if not worse, than what the Reds have been able to do. You have, like, for example, the Mets, right? They had to call up this guy, Jonah Tong, out from the minors, and he doesn't even get out of the first inning. They're having to, all these teams in playoff races are really having to, pull together, use Scotch tape to get over this bullpen. And aside from a couple, like the Lodolo flu game and maybe a couple others, we've had injuries and been able to just move forward with people like Zach Littell, Chase Burns, and even Nick Martinez being able to give us very quality stuff out of the, at the back end of this rotation that's led this starting pitching to really carry this team. So I really hope that Brady Singer is going to be able to continue that today. It's one of those things where, his last start, he gave up 1 run against, who did he pitch against? Who was it? The Mets last. Yeah. And that's a great offense. And we're going to need it too, because these Athletics, and we'll get to it, but the Athletics this is, for a team that with the record that they do have, they can sure hit the ball. We're talking fourth in all of baseball in average, 9th in all of baseball in on-base percentage, 3rd in slugging percentage, 7th in OPS. So, like, this is a team that hits the ball. And part of it is, we'll get through some of these big boppers at the beginning, and part of it is their ballpark. Their ballpark is basically the second best. It has overtaken Great American Ballpark as the second most hitter-friendly ballpark behind Coors Field. And yeah, so for the A's, they had Lawrence Butler playing center, leading off. Shea Langoliers catching, batting second. Nick Kurtz, rookie, probable rookie of the year, and former college teammate of Chase Burns, playing first base, batting third. Brent Rooker, DHing, batting fourth. Jacob Wilson, their all-star, batting fifth and playing shortstop. J.J. Bleday, former top pick, I think, for the Marlins in right field. Daryl Hernandez, who don't know much about him, but he's third base, batting seventh, and then Carlos Cortez in left field, and Zach Geloff batting ninth and playing second base. So, do you got some numbers? I've got one start that Brady Singer had against the A's last year that went pretty well. So, does he have any numbers against some of these current Athletics out there?
Yeah, he has given up some hits. He 304 average. Brent Rooker's 2 for 6 with a double. Bleday's 2 for 5 with the home run and a double. Langoliers is 0 for 4. Swordstrom's 1 for 3 with a double. Geloff's 1 for 3, and Schumann's 1 for 2.
Well, that's definitely some success. His 2024 start against the Athletics, obviously, no Nick Kurtz, very obviously. No Jacob Wilson, also a rookie. So, and, not all the same people, but he went 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 run, 9 strikeouts. So you like to see that. I'd love to see some sort of performance like that. But really, we need to keep this team under wraps the best we can, because I think they're going to score runs. Like they're they hit the ball out of the ballpark, and especially in this minor league stadium, which is what we're playing in, they're going to score some runs. So we're going to really need to exploit the big weakness for the A's, and it's not their offense; it's actually their pitching, right? So starting for them is JT Ginn, who 3-6 with a 4.95 ERA. Last start was in LA for the Angels. He went 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 5 strikeouts. So pretty good, but has really struggled at home this year. What do you have? Do you have anything else on JT Ginn and how the Reds might be able to exploit this young guy?
Yeah, so he relies on 5 pitches: a sinker, slider, cutter, changeup, four-seamer. His four-seam fastball averages around 94. Like you said earlier, he faced the Reds last year, 5 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 4 strikeouts, 2 home runs. So Will Benson's 1 for 2 with the home run. Tyler Stevenson's 1 for 3 with the home run. Ellie's 0 for 3, and Friedel and Steer are both 0 for 2. But I like it. I like our chances. The A's have struggled at home, and he has as well. He's 1-4 at home with a 6.64 ERA, and he's 2-2 with a 3.16 ERA on the road. So I like the numbers.
Yeah, like I said, I think the Reds are going to have to hit. I found a chat in here. Went back. Optimistic John. He predicted 2 Benson home runs. He's already got a home run off of JT Ginn. I love that. If I were a betting man, I would be putting something down on a big fly by our boy Will Benson. I love that. I love that optimism, Optimistic John.
Living up to his name.
Yeah, I think these are going to be some slugfests. I think we're going to need to score some runs because, even with our good pitching, they're going to get theirs, starting with Nick Kurtz. Nick Kurtz this year, right? He's batting .302, OPS plus of 177. That's 77% better than league average. 30 home runs, and he didn't even start the year on the team. Like, he came up midseason at the end of April. 74 RBIs. So, plus power, obviously going to need, especially in this ballpark. But one thing that his issue is he strikes out 30% of the time, which is like bottom 5%, right? We're talking like Ellie, his strikeout percentage is 25%. This is the guy that the Cincinnati fan base cannot handle how much this dude strikes out. Ellie De La Cruz, right? I can't believe he strikes out so much, blah, 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 blah. Well, this dude strikes out 5% more than he does. So, like, can be got with some of these strikeouts. But if you make a mistake, boy, he's going to make you pay. And like I said, he was a Wake Forest teammate with Chase Burns, went number 4 overall. I think there were some Reds fans that maybe wanted them to take Kurtz instead of Burns. Obviously, Burns has looked great so far, especially in his first year coming up as a pitcher. And we're excited to see what he has out of the bullpen. But, somebody with 30 home runs
looks nice.
Does look pretty nice and would look pretty nice in this lineup. I don't care. It's like, I don't care how good Spencer Steers at first base. Nick Kurtz hitting 30 home runs. He's playing there. So, like,
oh, yeah.
It's hard to say. It's hard to judge draft picks like that in the first year. Obviously, this is an incredible year for Nick Kurtz, and we might get to the end of their rookie contracts and Chase Burns might outperform him just because we see the stuff there. We see how electric he is. So it's hard to tell at this point. Obviously, another time around the leagues, people start figuring out your holes and stuff like that in your swing and things. So, you never know. Nick Kurtz might go out to be a perennial all-star and we'll be kicking ourselves. But right now, I'm still liking the fact that we got another hammer that is going to be a staple in our rotation in the years to come and is going to be a dynamic weapon out of the bullpen. So, I'm still here for Chase Burns if given the choice for what we have.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Brent Rooker and Jacob Wilson also. Brent Rooker, he's got a 125 OPS plus, slashing 267, 337, 487, 27 home runs. He's ranked 3rd in doubles. And then Jacob Wilson, he's got a 123 OPS plus, batting 319, slashing 361 and 450 with 12 home runs. He's 2nd in MLB in batting average, just 3 points behind Aaron Judge. And he just doesn't strike out. He strikes out 7.5% of the time. It's 3rd lowest in baseball. It's, they have a lot of talent. Their team's a whole lot better than what their record shows. They have been improving over the last couple of years, and they did clinch their first non-100 loss season for the first time in the last 2 seasons. So they got some players, and luckily for them, I guess, if it happens, they have looks like a decent team going into Vegas in the next 3-4 years.
Right. You got to remember they were the ones that traded the Padres Mason Miller, their stud closer, who we saw up close how good he is. But in the return back from Mason Miller, they got the number 3 overall prospect as well in baseball, not even like in all of baseball, plus 2 other prospects back. So, that if that pans out, which obviously may not, you never know with prospects, but if that pans out, that's another cog of the next potentially good Oakland team. So this team obviously has been pretty bad for a while now, and this whole debacle of moving from Oakland to Vegas and how it went down, I think a lot of people soured on that, but they're starting to really stock up some talent. And as much as we would like to say easy wins here, these aren't the Rockies, right? This isn't going to be a team that just rolls over for us. These guys are going to swing the bat, and the Reds are going to have to play good baseball if they're going to want to win this series and potentially sweep this series. So, I just hope that they're ready coming to play, because man, the offense is going to need to be swinging coming into today. Another part of this too is going to be the bullpen. Obviously, both teams had the day off, but our pitching path to victory. Obviously, only Santillan pitched on Wednesday, and Pagan has gotten at least 2 days off, and everyone has been is rested. One thing we didn't talk about is the roster moves that happened. Graham Ashcraft was reactivated, and so was Chase Burns, as I mentioned, both going to the bullpen. I would imagine we won't see Ashcraft in leverage. That would be my guess, in higher leverage bits. I would imagine that they may try to ease him back in, especially with kind of the struggles that he was having coming into it. But I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing Chase Burns in that high leverage spot. Maybe come in, pitch 2 innings, maybe even 3. If he can mow down the lineup, which we've seen him do opening games, right? How many? He's got 5 strikeouts in his first 2 innings because he's just striking everybody out in some of his starts. So it's like he's got the potential to give us be our Mason Miller, right? We saw how dominant Mason Miller was by the Padres against the Reds, right? Just 102 with this wipeout slider, just frankly no shot. And we have the option to have somebody for this year. I obviously want him to be a starter long term, but for this year to bring somebody like that out of the bullpen, that's cool. I think that's an upgrade for sure for what we've been able to do. So we'll be interested to see how Tito chooses to use them. I heard that they would be letting him know, hey, this is the day that you're pitching, kind of thing. Obviously, they're not going to announce that probably because they don't want to tip their hand for the other team. But boy, having him out of the bullpen is somebody that I think can be an upgrade to what has kind of struggled a little bit for us here. If we're going to need all of that if we're going to, make a push for the playoffs here down the stretch.
Yeah, I like the velocity we have coming out of the bullpen too, with Connor Phillips, high 90s, 100, 101, Maxwell, doing what he does. And then you got, Ashcraft, who throws that 99 to 100 mile per hour cutter. And not to mention, Santillan when he's on throwing high 90s. And I feel really good about our bullpen if we can give key guys days off when we need them, and then give the younger guys higher leverage spots to get them the experience that they need for the future as well, because you have to worry about that also. But I feel really good about Maxwell once he figures out command, and Connor Phillips has just been a really pleasant surprise over the last few weeks.
Yeah, completely agree. Obviously, I think the struggles from Santillan and Pagan, I think, do stem from overuse, because we've seen plenty of examples of them getting extended breaks and then coming out and being nails. So I think that if we were able to add, and we haven't even mentioned Nick Martinez into this too, right? Somebody that may even be able to give you multiple innings, but also that you can, feel pretty good about coming in and being able to throw all 6 of those pitches or whatever to get outs in high leverage situations as well. And if we can just give a little bit more length, then we can, we are not going to have to depend on those guys every, Santillan, Pagan, every start, and maybe even do what we saw with the Padres series where we kind of alternate them, right? And so it's just like, okay, we saw Pagan on Tuesday, and then we saw Santillan on Wednesday, and those days off allowed them to be much more effective. So, if we can get through this stretch, I like where our bullpen kind of is setting up, and we're going to have to see, because they're going to probably be some high leverage situations that our bullpen's going to be thrown in against a team that mashes in a tiny ballpark that gives up a boatload of home runs. So it's like, hey, they're going to be tested. I highly doubt we aren't playing close games here. So it's we're going to need it, and hopefully they'll be able to show up for us. let's talk about the rest of the series. We usually do this on Friday because there's no pregame shows for Saturday and Sunday. Obviously, if you're just joining us, this is the pregame show for the series opener against the Athletics, the Sacramento Athletics against the Cincinnati Reds. I did forget to mention, please like the stream. These are, that helps get the algorithm, get this out in front of more people, as well as, help grow the channel. For things like the post-game show that they're going to have they're going to have tonight as well. It's actually Nick's last one before he goes on paternity leave. So you won't want to miss that one. But yeah, rest of the series, we got Hunter Green. This is probably a 10:05 start tomorrow night as well. So late nights, get your coffee and your Red Bull ready so we can, experience Reds wins on the West Coast. We got Hunter Green going against Luis Severino, who I believe has pretty poor splits at home in that bandbox that they have there, who's only 6-11 with a 4.67 ERA. And then Sunday will be a 4:05 start. Nick Lodolo coming off of a very good outing where he kind of ran out of gas, wasn't extended. So I would expect him to have some good stuff there with his 3.1 ERA versus Luis Morales. Obviously, Severino and Morales are both not announced yet, but that's kind of how they expect it to line up. May change depending on, a team like Oakland, or I said it. I meant like the Athletics that are kind of out of it, often, may switch things around depending on if somebody's not feeling it completely, they don't even want to, test it. They may bring somebody up. We may see a bullpen game. I don't know, with a team that's out of it like this, but those are kind of the expected pitchers. Anything from there that stuck out to you, Ricky?
Yeah, Luis Severino. He has the largest contract in A's team history at 3 years, $67 million.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's less than they gave. And then the Reds gave Candy, right?
Sadly enough, yeah. He's 3-0 in his last 5 starts. 28 innings, 6 walks, 30 strikeouts. He's only allowed 1 home run in those starts. But like you said, his home road splits. He's 1-9 with a 6.34 ERA at home and 5-2 with a 3.11 ERA at home or on the road. And active Reds 8 for 47. That's a 170 average, 519 OPS. Steers 2 for 7. Ke'Bryan Hayes 1 for 7. Will Benson's 1 for 6. Ellie's 1 for 4. Austin Hayes 0 for 4. Gavin Lux 0 for 2. Marte 1 for 3. McClain 0 for 2. Stevenson 0 for 1. And Trevino 0 for 2. And then Hunter Green has, he's only made 1 start versus Oakland, and that was in 2023. 2 A's have only faced him. They're 0 for 7 with 4 strikeouts. That's Blade and Rooker. So I like that. And as far as Sundays, I don't think he's faced the Reds. I think he's a rookie, right? And Nick Lodolo, 3 active A's hitters against him. Rooker's 2 for 2 with the home run. Blade's 1 for 3 with a double, and Langler's 0 for 2.
I don't like that against for Rooker.
He's on fire.
I know. So maybe they say, hey, take a day. It's a long season. Take a day, Brent Rooker. I'd like that. But yeah, they're gonna need offense. I think the Reds are gonna need to score runs. They may be helped out by this bandbox of a stadium that they're playing in. I know that there are going to be some, you can just see Hunter Green giving up a cheap home run, hopefully solo home runs, but he's going to strike out 12 and then give up 2 solo home runs or something like that, right? So it's just like with how small this ballpark plays, their offense are going to need to take advantage of that too. So hopefully we can get some power output from Will Benson, Tyler Stevenson, Austin Hayes, and heck, hey, Ellie De La Cruz, let's hit a home run here.
Let's get hot.
Let's get hot. I know you haven't hit a home run since the beginning of August or the end of July or whenever
let's
it was.
Let's hit 7 the next couple weeks.
It's been way too long. Let's get one. Let's hit one hard out of the ballpark. I'd love to see that. And let's use this to our advantage to let the offense get hot here. All right. Do we have, before we get into our what to watch for, do you have kind of a score update? I've been seeing in the chat a couple things about the Mets game, but we got anything going on in the NL wild card race, some scores that we need to keep tabs on.
So currently it is the top of the ninth. The Rangers are up 8-3 over the Mets. And we have the Diamondbacks versus the Twins. That's another one we got to keep an eye on. The Twins are leading 4-1. Twins have scored 4 unanswered runs. The Diamondbacks were up 1-0 in the first inning. The Cardinals are trailing the Brewers 5-1. That's another one we got to kind of keep an eye on, just because the Cardinals we play them here. They could make up ground if we lose that. And the Padres and the Rockies have a series, and the Giants and the Dodgers play tonight also. So those are the key ones we have. We are currently tied with the Giants, so we're kind of rooting for the Dodgers a little bit.
Hey, I'm fine with that.
I don't like to say that, but hey, we're rooting for the Dodgers this series.
I obviously don't like the Dodgers, but there's like 4 or 5 teams that I dislike more than the Dodgers in the National League. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, obviously, they won the World Series, and I don't like it when they beat us, but, go out and beat the go out and win. I like that.
Just win.
Yeah, just win. And to be honest, we can scoreboard watch all we want, but really, what do we need to do? We need to take care of business in Sacramento, right? We're playing a team that is not as good record-wise as us, that has holes, awful defensively, not good at, a pretty poor ERA overall, especially at home. We need to win. Like, these are games that we should win. We need to go out and take advantage of the fact that the Mets have completely lost it. I think they're about to lose their 7th in a row. Like, we need to take advantage of it. We continue to do it against 2 good teams, Mets and the Padres. Let's go continue that in Sacramento. Obviously, I'd like a sweep. I think taking 2 out of 3 with how the Mets are playing, I think will be sufficient. But that's bare minimum. Like, we can't lose a series to the A's. We need to at least win this series and then come back home, firing, ready to, make this last 2-week push. So we're gonna need that, and we can look at the scoreboard as much as we want, but what we got to do is we got to go take care of business, and that's what I hope we can do tonight. Before we get to our what to watch for, let's get some of the predictions in the chat. I've seen some already, but this is where you guys get to chime in and see what you think tonight's score is going to be. So put those in the chat, and we'll highlight those after our what to watch for. But Ricky, what are you looking for in tonight's game? What's your what to watch for here?
Yeah, so with Friedel struggling hitting, but he has been walking. I'm looking for him to get on base because Austin Hayes has at least 1 RBI in his last 4 games versus the A's. So that's something. If we can get a leadoff walk from Friedel, and we can get Hayes to drive him in. And Ellie has an RBI in 4 of his last 5 games. It could be a series to heat up, like we've been talking all day.
Yeah, I like that. I like that potential. That obviously, I don't care where production comes from. Let's just get some. We're going to need to put runs on the board for today. My what to watch for is actually the weird Athletics splits. So as you can see here, their home and away splits and the righty versus lefty splits are pretty drastic. Look at this. We got a team that is 30-42 at home with a 5.13 ERA. So this team really does not like playing at home. Like, struggles, obviously gives up almost over a half run more in ERA, while on the road they're 37-38, so almost 500 with a significantly lower ERA. Not a great ERA, but still, so we're obviously catching them at home, which is great. Maybe not so great for our pitchers, but should be great for our offense, and hopefully we can take advantage of it. And then the other is against right-handed pitching versus left-handed pitching. These are right-handed pitch starters versus left-handed starters. But we're talking 49-64. That's 15 games under 500 when a right-hander starts, and then 18-16 when a left-hander starts. So it's just like we got 2 righties going, I guess. Luckily luckily for us, Andrew Abbott's not going. We'll see Lodolo in the ending, in the final game of this series. But these are just some wild stats to me. It's just like how different. We've always, Oakland obviously was a very expansive ballpark that was often thought of as hard to hit in and, a pretty good pitcher's park. And that is completely reversed for, the minor league stadium, Sutter Health Stadium, or wherever it's called in Sacramento that they're using. So we got a righty going for us, and we have it at their place, which are, seems to favor the Reds here. So, things are lining up. Like I said, this is a series the Reds should win. on paper, the Reds should win this series. So if you're going to pony up and you're going to be a playoff team and really push for the playoffs, these are series you got to win. These are not series that you can drop. All right, we have some predictions that we got to talk about here. I see some that have been starred for us. We have Daryl Morrow says 6-4 Reds tonight. Love that. Obviously, that would be a little bit of a nail biter at the end, but I'll take a win no matter how the win comes. I know that Ricky agrees with me on that one. We have Reds 12 and 12-5 winners. Let's go. Mets implosion. Thank you. I agree. Thank you very much. New York Mets. Jonah Tong not even getting out of the first inning. Thank you very much. But 12-5, I'd like that. That will make Nick and Craig very happy tonight in the post game. We got Reds 5, A's 2 from Molly. Thanks for chiming in, Molly. Obviously, we love to see a Reds win no matter how we get it. Optimistic John, did you throw one in here? I thought I saw maybe a prediction from you. Obviously, love his input when it comes to those type of things. So that's what we have. Is more of them keep coming out. More predictions keep coming in. We'll go back to that. But Ricky, I've filibustered long enough for you, buddy. What's your prediction?
I think we're going to score some runs. I am expecting an Ellie breakout. I'm going to say Ellie goes 3 for 4 tonight, and I think that the Reds are going to win this game 9-2.
I like that. 9-2. I like that. My guess is Brady Singer gives up a couple cheap home runs, only 3 earned runs, but goes 7. That's my guess. So he gets a very good deep start, and Ellie homers, Will Benson homers, and Key Brian Hayes homers after getting robbed by Ramon Laureano in San Diego. So I think we get at least 3 homers, and we come out on top 8-3 is my guess. We're going to get a power surge, a good start from Brady Singer, and an 8-3 victory to move hopefully within 1/2 of a game, 0.5 games from a playoff spot. Would love that. Optimistic John, thanks for chiming in. 6-2. Love, anytime. I'm assuming you mean Reds win. Optimistic John would never predict the Reds not to win these games, so I've never seen that, I'm sure. So that wraps it up for what we have today. Obviously, this game starting late, 10:05 at 7:05 Pacific time, at 10:05 Eastern. So get ready for a long one if you're wanting to stay up for that one. Obviously, the post-game show will happen. We'll go live in the 9th. It's Nick and Craig tonight, so enjoy that. Please continue to like the stream, subscribe to the channel where you'll continue to get solid content, not only from the Reds, but also the Bengals coming up. They obviously 1-0 for the first time in a while, going for 2-0 for the first time under the Zach Taylor era. So, boy, things looking up in Cincinnati. I think we talked about this in a couple pregame shows. If the Bengals could get a hot start and the Reds making a playoff push, September down in downtown Cincinnati is going to be rocking.
The banks are going to be lit.
I love that. Yeah, and if we can get in there and get a playoff game at home, woo-wee, I'm ready for that, man. So, yeah, like I said, make sure to tune in there, like the stream, and thank you all for joining. I saw one more. Nate Johnson came in here with 7-5 red legs. Thank you, Nate, for chiming in. Got to make sure that we get all our predictions. And yeah, it's a huge series, Ricky. It's a huge series. We're going to need it. We're going to start one game at a time. Just go out and win today, and then the rest will figure itself out. You got anything else, Ricky, before we head out?
Yeah, one last thing. It's just it's nice to see. Hopefully, we do play over our opponent with the A's, because the Giants are playing the Dodgers. It's a huge matchup for them, and we're rooting for the Dodgers. And if we could, with the Mets losing, it's still 8-3, middle of the 9th. If we can just take at least 2 out of 3, we'd love a sweep. But if we can get that with the Giants series loss, and with the Mets, we could leapfrog them this weekend.
I love it. I love it. Let's just keep playing good fundamental baseball and go out and win a series. For the people at Chatterbox, I'm Mike, and this is Ricky. Ricky, why don't you hit us with Go Reds before we take off here?
Go Reds.